Hey, have you booked your spot to the Body Knows retreat yet? I am so excited. We're only a month and a half away to this most amazing retreat that is being held at the Cove, Tasmania on the 14th to 16th of August. I am so excited about this. We only have a few spots left, and if you book in this week, not only will you save $200 because the price is increasing, so there's a little $200 discount special happening at the moment, but for this week only, if you book in before the 5th of July, you will also get our adrenal fatigue reset course for free, and the value of that, or you can purchase that on our website for $597. So not only will you secure a spot because all the spots have almost run out, and you'll save $200. You will also get our course that is worth $597. So come and join us. This experience will create the space for you to go deeply inwards, to listen to the messages from your body and take aligned action to move forward in your health and your life. So think delicious body-mind root cause coaching, trauma-informed somatic practices and breath work, sound healing, nourishing, wholesome food, and the most beautiful villas overlooking the wild ocean, plus more. So we would love to invite you to come and join us for this really beautiful weekend of deep connection with self, the land, and sea, and community. So you can just head down to the show notes and grab your spot and save $200. And get our adrenal fatigue reset course and secure a spot before they all sell out. I'm so excited to be there with you. Can't wait to give you a cuddle in real life.
Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We are your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of a multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
While busyness, addictive doing, people-pleasing, and perfectionism might be the norm, it's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams.
Let's dive in.
Hello, welcome to the potty. Today we have a beautiful interview with Casey Hibbard, who is a journalist, and we're going to talk all about the tactics to reverse autoimmunity based on hundreds of success stories. So Casey is a journalist, and she is a truly inspirational woman who not only healed her own autoimmune symptoms, but she has also gone on to interview hundreds of others who have overcome autoimmunity and chronic health conditions to discover why some people heal and others stay stuck. So this will be really meaty. There is very common themes that show up in this interview, and with all the people that she has interviewed, as well as taking all of our client base. And yeah, if I would definitely encourage you to listen to this, see if there's any missing pieces in your own healing journey, or maybe you are working on some of these core themes, but it can just be a reinforcement of going deeper into working on these areas of your whole self that will help you to get unstuck and have the health that you want. So Casey Hibbard ended her own autoimmune symptoms and lab markers, then set out to understand how and why some people recover while others stay stuck. She's the founder of the digital magazine Rebuilding My Health and author of Overcoming Autoimmunity, Real Recoveries, and What You Can Learn from Them. Through her platform, she has interviewed hundreds of people who have healed from chronic illness using root cause approaches, and today she shares the common threads behind sustainable recovery story and why healing is far more possible than most people are told. And what I think is most powerful about this episode is we are providing space to talk about success stories, which is a big part of rewiring the brain to look for evidence of healing. And sometimes that does start outside of you, especially if you're someone who has been struggling with health issues for a long time. You've tried a bunch of stuff, you're still not where you want to be. When you can hear success stories, it helps to provide hope, and to know that, hey, if it's possible for that person, then it can be possible for me. And also sharing your own success story helps to metabolize unprocessed trauma that has been wrapped up in potentially years, maybe even decades of chronic health issues. So really hope you enjoy today's episode. And if you are someone who has had a beautiful healing journey and a success story, even if you're not 100% where you would like to be yet, please feel free to reach out to Casey to share your own story on her digital magazine and the work that she's doing.
Welcome everybody to this episode of the Ending Body Burnout Show. Philly and I have a guest on today's show. Welcoming into the studio, Casey.
Hey, Chris and Philly. So excited to be here to chat with you today.
Yay, we are too, because you have your own fascinating health journey. And also you are the author, I'm going to get the title right, Overcoming Autoimmunity, Real Recoveries and What You Can Learn from Them. And what I love about what you've done with the book is you haven't just shared your own story, but you have interviewed hundreds of people with autoimmune conditions, chronic weird health issues, and discovered key themes around why people heal, or some people heal and others stay stuck. So I'm super excited to dig into those themes with you today.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right, let's start off with your own healing journey. I think our listeners really love to get into the nitty-gritty of, like, not only who is this person, but why should we be listening, and hearing your own journey. So when you started showing up with chronic health symptoms, can you explain what was happening in your life, what that looked like for you health-wise, and paint that picture?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was pretty soon, maybe within a year or two after having a baby, and things just started unraveling one at a time. Super, super tired. That seemed like more than new mom tired. And I was starting to get arthritis in my hands and my toes. I was having a ton of gut issues. I mean, I'd had them throughout my life, but they were just much worse than they had been. And just a lot of inflammation. And when I was tested for anti-nuclear antibodies, had the lab marker for autoimmunity, I had autoimmune activity, and that would go up each time I would be tested. So I knew that things were going in the wrong direction, and I needed to, well, at that point, I didn't think, oh, I need to turn it around, because at that point I was in conventional medicine and didn't think, oh, this is something that could be turned around. I was like, wow, I'm 40, and this is kind of the beginning of the big decline for the rest of my life.
Beginning of the end.
Yeah, like this is when it starts. When I have a 2-year-old, and this is when it starts. And so, and I think the wake up call, or the scariest point, was I ended up in the eye doctor's office for blurry vision in one eye. And she said that it's inflammation, systemic inflammation. It's not just this eye problem we can give you drops for. You need to be looking deeper. And I'm glad that she said that and was smart enough to realize that it was systemic inflammation.
So interesting. What were you given, diagnoses or labels? Yeah. What did that
So
look
I
like?
started going to all the ologists, the gastroenterologists, the rheumatologist, et cetera. And so I ended up getting some gut diagnoses, basically, And then in terms of the autoimmune diagnoses, I didn't get a specific autoimmune diagnosis at the time. They just were saying your autoimmune markers are going up. We don't know what it is yet. And so I think in hindsight, I'm glad I never got a specific diagnosis for that, because then I didn't have something to latch on to and go, oh, I have this. So yeah, so I really, in terms of healing, it really started with the gut, because I got a diagnosis for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is a really common gut thing where you have too much bad bacteria in the wrong place. And then from there, I went down a rabbit hole.
Can I ask, was that with conventional doctors, or by this time you were kind of looking into functional medicine, naturopathy?
Yeah, so that was with a conventional doctor. But the way that I got into actually kind of naturopathic medicine next was, or functional medicine, was that the fix that they gave me for it in the conventional doctor's office didn't fix it. So I started seeing a naturopath who helped me come up with a whole.
Sorry, can I? Are you okay if I jump in? I'm just curious, because in Australia, people don't get diagnoses with SIBO. In conventional medicine, it's really rare. So it would be sort of, so I'm just like, oh, very interesting. Was it just antibiotics? It's like, take these antibiotics and you'll be fixed. Is that what you meant by you were given something, but it didn't quite recorrect what was going on?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And right, it was, I guess I was lucky that, I was in the insurance system, I was in the conventional system, and I did get that diagnosis. And so it kind of, I knew what I was dealing with. They gave me the antibiotics, but I think I later learned that I wasn't doing other things. I wasn't changing my diet. I wasn't maybe working on the fact that, my motility wasn't great. My gut was damaged. And so, the next steps were really to, work with someone who helped me change my diet and take some herbs to heal it. And then also work on motility, like take some stuff to make sure that all that, like the sweeping motion of my digestion was working correctly. And so with all of that, I cleared that, and then went on to clear a bunch of other gut health stuff, which surprisingly helped with the inflammation. So like my story really is a lot about how gut health was the pathway in many ways for healing a lot of the other things.
Yeah. What else did it look like with the healing journey? Because I imagine there was a holistic approach, not just working on the gut
Right. Exactly. Yeah, definitely. You talk a lot about adrenals and adrenal fatigue and all that. And that was definitely a part of my story, to have somebody actually, run some tests and look at that and identify that I had adrenal issues, pretty bad adrenal issues, which I'm sure was part of the fatigue, etc.
Yeah.
And so that was a piece of the puzzle as well. Diet was huge for me, honestly, in terms of symptom management, and then just overall reducing inflammation and healing long term. I kind of did that one thing at a time. I baby stepped it, started with removing dairy and then removing gluten, like kind of refining it to get it to where I was eating a nourishing diet that was not inflammatory for me.
Yeah.
And
so I'm always curious, because I mean, in our practice, we'll look at we have a model where we always start with symptoms, or people experience symptoms in their body. And then, you could treat the symptoms, but it can feel like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. So there's always going to be some sort of body system imbalance underneath the symptom, which you've talked about. There was adrenal fatigue and gut issues and SIBO and inflammation. And then like Chris and I always get very curious around why. Like, okay, it's all it's great to know where those physical imbalances lie so we can start therapeutically treating those issues. But in your own healing journey, did you get underneath the why? Like, why was there adrenal fatigue? And then why did that? Well, why were there gut issues? What was happening underneath the surface in terms of how you were being? Because it's interesting too. I'm like, oh, you had a baby at 38 years old. Yeah. Which is probably like a little bit later in life. But I'm curious what else was happening in your life around then. Like, were you working at the same time, and what were your patterns, and what actually led to your body screaming at you with inflammatory markers?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Probably I was definitely working at the time and had a toddler. And I think when I really look back at it, and you talk about a lot of talk a lot about this as well, just that I had been pushing myself for a long, long time and not really I didn't really have much self in terms of self-care. And that's something that I've definitely had to figure out and change, really to slow down and recognize that I am kind of getting ramped up. I'm in fight or flight over an email or something, like and how often I do that, how often the small things are sending me into this state of fight or flight. So yes, there was definitely like the perfectionism and people pleasing as well, which I think has gotten older. Gotten better as I've gotten older. But also, it's something I notice now. I can stop and go. Now I need to take a break and embrace some self-care.
Yeah, yeah. And what does that look like for you?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of different things, just small things really throughout the day. Like I try to journal when I wake up. I take breaks to go on walks. I meditate, which has never been an easy thing for me, but I've come to enjoy it, and kind of feels delicious a little bit, just like feels like I'm like nourishing my body in that way by doing that, by just taking some time out and then not taking on too much. Knowing when to say no, because I've kind of always just like done everything.
Yeah.
Never said
Wearing
no.
all the hats. Yes to everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
interesting what you say about meditation. I remember I was the same. I'm like, oh, I feel like I have to force myself to meditate and stay still. But it is a practice. And also when it's safe to be, then like I'm the same. It's like just so delicious now. And it feels
Yeah.
very chalk and cheese, but it is part of the healing journey as well in terms of rewiring these patterns that lead us into health issues in the first place. And similar with healing, we have another saying, you can't heal in the same way that you burnt yourself out. So sometimes people approach their healing journey where they're like, I have like as a big long checklist. It's like, I got to do this and this and this and this, and I have to meditate for 5 minutes, and I have to go for my walk, and I have to take my supplements. But it never really works out well for people. It might for a short period of time because you're changing the physiology with some of the things you might be doing. But I mean, what I see in our practice after working with thousands of people is that it's not long lasting, because at some point it is actually causing more stress and trauma to a system that is already so on. And so that slowing down and actually changing those patterns that led to burnout, a big healing part is how you approach your own healing. Did you find that in your own healing journey, if you went from like running those perfectionism, people pleasing patterns, doing everything else, did you approach healing in that way initially and then found that it wasn't working?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, there is this tendency to do all the things. If I found online, okay, here's one supplement that can help with what I have. Oh, here's another supplement that can help. Like I just would throw everything at it. Like whatever the problem was, I would throw, the 10 things at the problem.
Yep.
Whereas sometimes less is more. Just kind of like step back and go, like just chill out about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it also shows that, so I mean, again, in our practice, we believe that body burnout is a result of a broken relationship with self. And in order to restore that relationship, part of that is becoming in tune with like, what do you need and what does your body need? And yes, you can access expert knowledge, lab testing to help you identify what's going on in your body and what your body needs. But it's do I need 10 things? Or is my body actually saying like, I don't want these 10 things. This is quite intense. I would prefer to have 2 things. And that doesn't come straight away, but I guess for anyone listening, that would be my little piece of advice, would be to start queuing in with your body and with your deeper self and what does your body want? And even if the treatment protocol says do this and this and this and this and this and this order, it's like, how does that feel for you? Does that actually feel life-giving and healing, or does it feel like it's creating more stress and putting your system into more fight, flight, freeze?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that has been really a huge part of my healing journey, is just noticing like how I'm feeling in response to anything. Any triggers in my life, any foods I'm eating, any supplements I'm taking, or protocols or whatever. Because I'm the only one living in my body. A doctor, doesn't know my body as well as I do, and how I'm feeling and how I'm reacting to things. And I keep a journal on my phone of, oh, I'm more tired today, and like maybe, why is that? Or, just to try to notice patterns and pay attention to things.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in your book, and you've also got an online magazine platform called Rebuilding My Health, you have then gone on and interviewed hundreds of people. I'm curious what actually stemmed that. Like, what was the motivation behind? I'm healing myself, and I feel so much better. And now I want to invest all my time and energy into learning everyone else's story.
Exactly. So I have a journalism background and have been a writer and interviewer for my entire career. And so when I was online and coming across all of these anecdotes in little pockets of the internet of people who were healing things that were not supposed to be fixable, like that were typically chronic or really challenging health conditions, I just immediately thought, I want to get these stories out there. And so I started with a friend. I was like, can I interview you and publish your story? And then from there, I just started seeking out more and more and building a list of, oh, here's a list of all the different conditions and symptoms and types of stories I want to capture. And it has been incredibly rewarding to speak to all these people. I'm inspired by everyone I speak to and have the chance to capture their stories. And it's also, interestingly, I think, a little bit cathartic for the folks I'm interviewing, because they're kind of like, they're telling their success story, and it's it just feels good to do that. So that's the inspiration behind it, and just can't stop at this point, because it's inspiring to me. And I feel like putting the education out there, not that someone's going to take one of these stories as a blueprint for how to get better, but to go, oh, it's possible, and maybe get some ideas and some hope from it.
We're big advocates in evidence collecting. So collecting evidence that healing is possible. And sometimes when a new client is struggling with so many issues, it can feel like there's obviously something inside of them that says it's possible, otherwise they wouldn't say yes again to another thing. But they tend to also have a lot of failed attempts as well. Well, what they might classify as failed. I actually don't think there's ever any failure, because it's just taking you one step closer to where you want to be. So when we introduce the brain rewiring tool of evidence collecting, it's like, start off first externally. If you're struggling to find even micro pieces of evidence that you're healing on an everyday basis, start off with collecting 10 minutes of external evidence, of finding someone who has similar things that is going on for you, and just binging on that material, and especially the success stories. And you know what? Get out of the Facebook groups that have labels on them. So it's like, if you've been diagnosed with this, and now there are some lovely Facebook groups that are more positive in nature and possibility, but things like Reddit, and I was part of all sorts of Facebook groups, and it's quite dire. It's kind of like people want, I'm going to use the word complaining, but sometimes complaining is I feel seen and heard, and I know that I'm not the only one, but it can sometimes feed this story of, I'm stuck in this health issue. So I do love what you've done. And also something else you said is that it can be really cathartic for the person sharing their story. We have clients that have shared their story on our podcast, many of them. And it is it's a beautiful celebration of not just the results that they have got, but also the challenges, and that they've persevered and moved through them and created the health and the life that they want. And I have also read as well that it can actually metabolize past trauma that can come from chronic health issues, when you can share your story and actually piece it step by step. And it's and this is what I did, and this is how I healed, and this is now how I feel. A part of the system that can feel stuck in the past from that time can actually be metabolized in the process of storytelling, which is, I think, just so beautiful. Yeah.
I love that. I have not heard that before, but it makes sense. It's almost like, when you journal your thoughts and your feelings, it is, yeah, kind of helping you process it. Yeah, but I didn't really think of it in those terms, and I love that. It's really beautiful. And, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And even to be seen and heard by another human being, there's something really special in that. And then knowing that it's this is going to go on a platform where potentially hundreds, if not thousands of people may hear me and see me. I think that that's really healing and can be really confronting, but to put yourself out there is a really special gift that you can give yourself, and also other people who aren't yet at the point in their journey that they want to be, where it's it's so possible.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. And it's interesting because a lot of people don't want to share their stories, and I understand it's a very personal thing, but a lot of people don't want to share because it was an imperfect story, or they're not 100% there. You know what I mean? But there's so much to learn. They've done so much. They've gotten so much better and healed so much. But they're but I still have this one thing that's bothering me. I'm you're still a success story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Celebrate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also redefining what it is to actually be a healthy person. I don't think a healthy person is sensation free all of the time, because our body's constantly talking to us. It might even be hey, you haven't drunk for a few hours. Can we have some water? Got a little bit of a headache.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so what are the collection of conditions that you've in when you've been interviewing these people, what are the main, I don't know, top 5 or 10 things, just so that anyone listening here is oh, okay, I identify with that.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of autoimmune conditions. I've done a lot of stories on rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, lupus, Hashimoto's, kind of the thyroid, autoimmunity. I've done women's health challenges, some migraine stories. I've got Alzheimer's and Parkinson's as well,
Mm,
turnaround stories.
awesome.
Then like toxins and infections like mold illness and Lyme disease, those types of things. So my goal really is for whatever someone is dealing with, they can ideally find stories on my site. And I know
Mm.
I don't have everything yet, but I'm, kind of keeps me going to in the pursuit of trying to, yeah, cover as much as possible.
Yeah, and I love that on your website because you can, if someone is like, "Oh, I have mold illness and I'm really stuck with it," or maybe it's like the first time that they have realized that's what's going on, you can actually do a keyword search and it will come up with all the people who have healed from that. Yeah,
Right. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of it is very root cause based. Like, for example, a lot of the folks who have autoimmune thyroid issues also have mold illness. So there
yeah,
seems to be, connection between that. And so, like, I think, my hope is that someone, especially with like a mystery illness like chronic fatigue or something like that, they can read a story and go, oh, maybe I'll look into mold, or maybe that's an avenue I haven't explored yet, or Lyme
mm,
disease or something like that. So,
mm. What are some top of mind inspiring stories that is just like, whoa, that almost feels like a miracle? And especially to conventional medicine, it's like, you shouldn't be well. You had this thing and you were, I don't know, bedbound or whatever it looked like for that person.
right, right, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think the most inspiring stories to me are the ones where they are so debilitated. They've lost their quality of life. There's a woman named Julie whose story is in the book, and she had 5 autoimmune disorders, and she had teenage kids at home. She was a single mom with teenage kids, and her daughter came to her and said, "Mom, I'm worried you're going to die." Like, she was no longer working. She was, just not able to really, do life. She didn't feel well enough. And she started, very slowly kind of looking at her root causes. And there was like gut health for sure for her. I think there were thyroid was an issue for her. She really needed to address. And it was multi-layered. So diet, and I think addressing some toxins as well, just making sure that she was, like eating clean food and using clean products, and maybe detoxing from some toxins. And over time, she basically got rid of her symptoms
Mm,
from 5 autoimmune disorders. And now she's a health coach. Like, she
mm,
fixed everything and went back to school and started a whole new career, like a lot of folks do with serious illness. But yeah, it's just really inspiring to see this single mom turn her life around and be well
yeah.
now.
Yeah, so cool. Um, I'm thinking you could go
That's,
through our podcast and look at like who has had success stories. If you wanted some
oh
more
yeah,
case stories on your website, but I'm
I
thinking
would love it. I would love to. Yes, bring me your stories.
one that comes to mind is, and this, it really did feel like a miracle turnaround because it was really fast as well. So Linda, who shared her story in our podcast, she similar thing, like diagnosed with many autoimmune conditions, even scleritis, so inflammation in the eye, as you mentioned. When you mentioned that, I'm like, oh, Linda had that too. But when she came into the clinic, she was so crippled in pain. Rheumatoid arthritis was one of them, that she could hardly even move her hands. Like, she went to pick up a pen to write something and really struggled to do that. And in 3.5 months, every symptom disappeared, except for there was just a bit of restriction with her movement with her hips. But like, it was crazy. And even things like health anxiety, food sensitivities, fatigue, like there was heaps of stuff going on. And then one of her dreams was to start pottery because, like, physically she couldn't do it. And so she's like, when I'm well, and she never said if, she's like, when I'm well, I'm going to start pottery and I'm going to walk around the beach. And, you know, she had all these physical dreams and aspirations. Chris is actually pulling her up on Instagram. And now she's got the most beautiful pottery business. She's got so many followers on YouTube, and really she only started that probably a year or two ago. And just, super special.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, I'm going to have to interview her.
She would love to share her story.
That would be really fun. Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, I also have an Alzheimer's story that was like really close to my heart because my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and there's a gentleman in Northern California who got an Alzheimer's diagnosis and lost his driver's license. And he ended up going to a functional medicine doctor near him who did some tests and chatted with them and found that he lives near an Air Force base and he had high levels of jet fuel in his system. So that was definitely part of his story, as well as insulin resistance and some hormone imbalances that as he started working through them, he got better, went back to his doctor, got rid of the Alzheimer's diagnosis, and got his driver's license back. So it's just amazing.
Yes. I'm actually thinking of an elderly man we worked with quite a while ago, but he was diagnosed with early Parkinson's, I think it was, like shakiness, in his 80s. And so anyway, all the Parkinson's symptoms disappeared. And the doctors still though were like, you still have it. And it's like, I don't actually think you do. And he was like, I feel the best I have since I was like in my 30s. So yeah, I think Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's are definitely conditions where people feel like it is I'm going to have this forever and things are going to decline over time. Which is, you know, as we just shared, it's not the case for everyone.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's one of the, and that's what I'm hoping to do is kind of bust narratives, you know, the conventional narratives out there that you have this thing and you have it for the rest of your life and there's nothing you can do about it except manage the symptoms. And so that's really kind of the rebellious part of the storytelling for me, is to go, look, you know, like this person, it doesn't have to be like that it's possible to turn it around.
Yeah. One of my beliefs is if we can find one person that has healed this thing, it's possible for anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
I love that.
Let's do that.
And I love that you encourage people to seek out success stories. I think that is such an important mindset step.
Yeah. It was a big part of my own healing journey. I can't remember if I've shared this to you, but especially, well, I mean, my journey was very long because I started physically only, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with my patterns or my mind or my beliefs. Like, what even is the subconscious mind? And so the physical stuff helped for a while, but the symptoms just kept coming back, and I felt like I had to constantly manage myself and wrap myself up in cotton wool. Otherwise, the symptoms kept popping up. And so when I dove deeper into the metaphysical side of healing, one thing that I did was like I was just binge listening to podcasts of either like people who were preaching the word of metaphysical healing, and then like, you know, it's possible that if you change your beliefs, your health issues, like even the physical ones, can disappear. And then also finding heaps of success stories for people who had similar things, or even if it wasn't similar to me, even if it was like, whoa, like you can heal that condition. I didn't even know that. Well, of course I can heal my dairy allergy then. Like I can, let me have a go at this.
Yeah. Right. Yes. So I walk around in the world believing that most things can be turned around.
Mm.
And I'll say that to somebody, oh, I just wrote a success story about someone who turned around also. And they look at me like I'm a crazy person, like I'm a
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. It's like, you're lying. It's like, no,
Oh,
no.
really? Yeah.
What are the most common things that you have seen that have helped people recover? Like, if you could name the top 5 things that it's like, these are really common in all the people that I have interviewed. Because I think this will also help listeners to kind of orient to, are there any missing pieces that they haven't addressed? Or that,
Right,
maybe they need to go deeper in. Now, obviously, everyone is unique and individual, and there might be some outliers. But personally, in our practice, I see that there's some common themes.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I hear the same things over and over. I will say, number one, mindset, because we were just talking about that. I have come to notice and believe that the mindset has to be there before anything else, for it to be possible. You have to believe you can get better and have that as the foundation, because it's such a different place to start from. Like, as you said, in the Facebook groups, you've got maybe a lot of people who are going, oh, this is it. This is just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. So if you start from that place, it's very different of, oh, there's hope. And I believe it's possible that I can, at least, improve symptoms, if not get rid of the condition altogether. So mindset is number one, and something that I notice with everybody. Um, Diet is another one that really, I think every single person I've spoken with has had to change their diet in some ways, because maybe they were eating a lot of processed food, or eating something that didn't agree with them, like dairy or gluten, or had some other specific sensitivity. And it's unique. There are some common triggers and problem foods, but diet is a huge healing tool. Absolutely. Gut healing was a big part of my story and has been part of so many of the stories that I've captured. Just, people finding that they're needing to do some things like address some infections or bacterial imbalances or whatever. I think I had like 4 or 5 different gut infections I had to
I was the
overtime.
same. SIBO, H. pylori, parasites, candida, everything, all the
I had
things.
oh my gosh. Exactly. I had all the same.
Yeah, yeah.
The low digestive enzymes, like whatever whatever can be a problem, I think I had there. Toxins and infections are another big one, like the gentleman who had too much jet fuel in his system, or, mold or Lyme disease, like these things that typically conventional medicine may not be looking for, may not be running any testing for. And so those are often the thing, like after 10 years or a long time of someone being sick, might unlock, or Epstein-Barr virus, something like that might be one of the root causes. And the last one I'll mention is stress and trauma and mind body stuff as being so important. So many people would say, well, I got 80% better with kind of a physical approach, like doing, diet and the gut health and all that. But I was plateauing. I wasn't getting better until I like worked through some trauma stuff or addressed some limiting beliefs that, so
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah. I would say all 5 of those things were part of my healing. Definitely.
Yeah.
And the diet one was interesting because I do, like, when I was doing solely physical protocols, I was doing it from a perfectionist pattern. So it was kind of like, I've got candida. This diet says do it for a month. I'll do it for 6 months. So it was kind of like overachieving. But in saying that, I don't regret that I did that because it definitely helped clear some things from my body. But yeah, the diet journey has been transformative over different seasons. So, and then there came a time where it's like, you know what? Like, actually, you being so, this is you as in me, Philly, you being so restrictive is actually causing more harm here now. So can we find like a middle ground where it's like 80-20 and yeah, let's play around with, could you eat dairy again? And could you rewire your pattern so that you could do that? So that, and I see that with clients too. Often it is like we need to take out the things that are putting fuel on the fire initially. And then, hey, if you want to eat those things again, like let's play, let's experiment, let's see. Because often the body can handle more of those foods anyway when it's well and there aren't nasty pathogens in the gut and your detox pathways are working. Your body's intelligent. It can clear out things that you don't need.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just sort of, like you, I kind of started more restrictive and then kind of loosened up over time to, and I know what I can sort of handle or not handle or kind of what feels good to me, like what eating keeps me feeling good.
Yeah. And I think that's the key too. So the healing journey is coming back to your own sovereignty. It's like, what does my body want? I can trust my body now because we have either broken trust because of patterns of trying to achieve, prove, defend, and then most people's healing journey start in the medical system where it's kind of like it's not a narrative of your body best. It's kind of like, I'm the person that does the test, that gives you the things, do it, and follow me, as opposed to, and what I find too around that too is people who have had mystery conditions that are outside the box of conventional medicine. So many clients come to us, like new clients, and same story. I got told that it's all in my head. And so then therefore people start to question themselves and their own body and their own sensations and the signals that are coming from the body. And so then therefore, like every decision that they make around healing or trying to connect back into intuition or like body wisdom, that has to be relearnt again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are put on antidepressants. It's just like, kind of like, oh, like here's maybe a catch-all solution for whatever might be going on. I've heard that so much.
Yeah, it's like you've got gut issues. You say that it flares up with stress, take an antidepressant. It's like,
right.
How about we address like the underlying reason why the body is having a stress response? And then also like what else is happening physically in the gut that is beyond that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand like it, because it takes time. It can take time to work through these different things and the layers of healing sometimes, people, I mean, I would love a quick fix, but have found that the quick fixes are not usually the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been a great confirmation around like what we see in our practice and with our clients as well. Now you have got a freebie that you would love to give to our clients, the 8 top steps that helped others with autoimmunity. So you're talking a little bit about that and also where people can find your book and your digital magazine and anything else that you feel is relevant.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I wrote a book of autoimmune success stories, and the handout or the freebie is those are the top 8 things that I noticed across all those autoimmune stories that seem to be the most common things that really move the needle for people. And as you said, everybody's a little bit different, and so the stories are unique, but those are some of the patterns I found. You can find more stories on my site at rebuildingmyhealth.com. And then I'm also rebuilding my health on the platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I'd love if anybody wants to share their story. I'm always looking for more stories.
Yeah.
So definitely out out to me.
So
There's one.
good. Yeah. I shared my story. And do people just do that through the website? Like or I guess they could reach out through Instagram or Facebook if they are feeling called to sharing their story. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to contact us on the website, or they can definitely reach out on social media as well. Yeah, I'd love to hear from folks.
Do it, people. It's a beautiful gift for self and also to others. And yeah, as we said earlier on, it is part of rewiring the whole self to know that it's possible. So when you can give that gift to other people, it's just a beautiful ripple effect that essentially can change the health industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's like a snowball effect to, someone shares their story and it touches someone else. And I hear from people regularly like, oh, I finally unlocked a piece of the puzzle because I saw this story and it happened to mention something that a path I went down, and that was the path I needed to go down. So, just to kind of keep passing along the spark of hope.
Yeah, love that.
Very cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Casey.
Thank you. It was an honor and a pleasure to chat with you today.
Likewise.
So good.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and hopefully we get to touch base again.
Great. I love it. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout Assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook.
Have the best day ever.